Today on Locked On Red Wings, Detroit's defensive woes finally bite them as they blow a 4-0 lead and lose in overtime.
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Red Wings podcast. We are your hosts, Brian Fisher and Scotty Bentley. I'm a podcast producer for the Daily JAWWJ News Radio podcast, while Scotty's host over at Locked On Tigers, as well as a freelance journalist for the Detroit News. And Scotty, the Red Wings finally got bit right in the rear end. Every trend that we had seen in the last 6 games, especially along this 3-game win streak, came out to play in this one as the defensive struggles, the odd man rushes, I won't say questionable goaltending, because for the most part, the goaltending's been fine outside of this game. I mean, there's been rumblings about the Husso side of things in his last start, but it finally bit them in the butt. They blow another lead, and this time they're not able to recover and fall in overtime in just unacceptable fashion to a team that you can absolutely not lose to. And I know we talked yesterday, Scotty. About how the San Jose Sharks were playing better. They were playing hot, but they were still one of the cellar dwellers in this league, and that is not going to change by the end of the season. They're still going to be a bottom 5 team by the end of the year, and the Red Wings blew a 4-0 lead in 5 minutes. Unacceptable fashion by the Detroit Red Wings in this one. So coming in hot, but I know it's going to be on top of everyone's mind. It's going to be the one or two things that everyone wants to talk about with this game. So just get it out of the way. Awful performance by the Red Wings in the second half of that hockey game.
Yeah, man, it's almost like in college hockey, like when you get close to the 10-minute mark in the second period and everybody does the countdown and then like halftime, like it's almost like that happened. And then right after, like around halftime of this hockey game, just complete disaster. We'll certainly talk about the offense that was really good for
5 minutes.
4 minutes, yeah. In this one. And obviously we'll talk about Kane here later on in the show and his performance in a vacuum. But I mean, golly, man, this was a complete collapse. And like everybody, just in general wants like a scapegoat for every situation and wants somebody to point to and be like, whose fault is this, right? Like what just happened and whose fault it is. And obviously, goaltending's a thankless job, and I think this was just a complete culmination of everybody. Like I thought Husso was incredibly weak in this game. I think he struggled mightily. I thought that the defense did him absolutely zero favors the entire game. Like it's not that hard of a concept to know that like both can be true. Like the goaltending can have struggled and the defense could have been absolutely atrocious. And I think that that's what happened in this game. And we've been talking about it all year, and especially over this winning streak, like the Wings have gotten off to really nice starts early and they've been aggressive on the forecheck and whatnot. And then as the game goes along, that they slip and they slip and they slip. And then they allow a boatload of rushes, and most of them odd man rushes, going the other way. And it really, really reared its ugly head in a very, very extreme way, obviously, in the last, in a 5-minute stretch in the second period in this game. And then obviously also in overtime. Yeah. So,
I mean, I said after this, the 10-minute mark hit and the Red Wings stopped playing. In all reality, if I'm being honest, they didn't have a good first period either. I thought the Red Wings were really fortunate to walk away from the first period, tied 0-0, because the Sharks, to their credit, and this is why we said in yesterday's episode, despite the fact that this is going to finish in the bottom 5 of the league coming into the end of the season, this is a team that's been hot. This is a team that's been playing up to their opponents. They just had a huge comeback, like I think the night before, 2 nights before, also won that in overtime.
Yeah, their last game.
We said don't take it for granted, and the Red Wings came out sluggish. The Sharks were the aggressor. They were the team that was winning all the corner battles. They were breaking up every play in the neutral zone, stopping any attempt. You couldn't even get to the blue line to attempt a break-in because they were shutting it all down. And then they were, getting all kinds of shots. And they had to edge 12-7 in shots at the end of the first. Granted, their power play helped with that some. But, I mean, Ville Husso bailed the Red Wings out in the first period. And I thought he had a very good first. Second period came around. Sharks, right off the bat, continue to be very good. Red Wings had an early power play, couldn't get anything going. And I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, no, this is one of those games. But then Kostin in that fourth line, and to the fourth line's credit, right, Scotty, the fourth line, I thought at least to the first half of that game, I noted it on Twitter, like they were playing very good. Christian Fischer and Kostin and Daniel Sprong continue to be a very effective first line at winning corner battles in the offensive zone. They generate offense by grinding out puck battles. And Kostin was part of that with his like underrated soft hands, and he got rewarded with that first goal halfway through the first period. Or second period, rather. The Sharks won a face-off, but it kind of got lost in no man's land in front of their own net, and he attacked it. And it was a ticky-tacky goal. Wasn't the prettiest goal. He was kind of chuckling about it. But it gave the Red Wings a 1-0 lead, and from there, the floodgates really opened. A few minutes later, Michael Rasmussen deflects one. A great deflection by Rasmussen on a Daniel Sprong shot where he didn't think he was going to get the puck there. Mickey Redmond noted he thought he was going for a change. Then what was it? 29 seconds later, if that? No, 49 seconds for the three stretch goals. I think it was like 12 seconds for Rasmussen's second deflected goal. Beautiful deflection again. Ben Sherratt. And then, again, 49 seconds from the first Rasmussen goal. Then it's Larkin to Fabbri to Ben Sherratt with a really nice high IQ play.
A great pass on that.
I'm giving him credit. That was a really nice pass, and he's done that a couple times in the last few games to Lucas Raymond wide open. 4-0 Detroit. Goaltender change. You're thinking, okay, they figured it out. But there's that itch in the back of your head. We talked about it. This team has the ability to punch teams in the face and then just completely crap the bed. And that is exactly what happened. Unacceptable.
Yeah, it is. And again, the defense failed this team. The goaltending failed this team. Like everything was a complete train wreck. And it was everybody, man. And when I say defense, we clarify this all the time. I don't mean like the defenseman specifically. I mean the team defense was absolutely atrocious at the end of the second period. It even kind of trickled into the third a little bit, but they obviously played well enough there. And you thought they were going to at least hold on to the victory, and it would be just like an ugly win. And then obviously the pass / horrible shot off the boards and led to a goal, man. It's just, it was constant rushes and constant breakaways and constant odd man rushes and from literally like halfway through the second through overtime, like just consistently giving up high danger, fast paced opportunities the other way. And Husso couldn't stop a nosebleed. And here we are.
It was pretty much everyone's fault that they blew this game. I mean, from the moment, the moment Raymond scored that fourth goal is when it fell apart, because Mark-Edward Vlasic took, I think, an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty after that goal. We
gave up 2 shorthanded goals in 2 minutes. 3 minutes or something.
Because, I mean, granted, the first one it looked like a wonky bounce off the boards, off a stanchion maybe, came to the middle of the ice, 2-on-1 coming down. But, I mean, this is where the Husso woes start coming in. That shot, it was a 2-on-1 with a defenseman back or a forward back, whoever it was, because Sider blew his tire, obviously.
Yeah.
Thomas Hertl elected to take the shot. Husso got a piece of it, but not enough to keep it out. Ended up being off the blocker and in. That is one Ville Husso has to save. Obviously, a 2-on-1 is not ideal, but that is one Ville Husso has to save.
Yeah, well, he had one under his pad as well, and then like the one to tie the game to send it into overtime was off the board, and man, like
20 seconds later, Fabian Zetterlund, they come back down on another 2-on-1 off a turnover, whatever it is. They all blend together in my mind, honestly. And they go cross crease, goal. No, with the Zetterlund one was another clean shot. I can't even remember. I literally cannot remember which goal is which. But the point being here,
they all looked very similar.
3 of them were cross crease NHL 20 style goals that the defenseman on 2-on-1s or a breakaway and again, in those situations, I almost want to give Husso a little bit of a break on the 2-on-1s because those are really hard to make. But when you know that pass is coming, you got to get over and make the save. I almost want to give him a break, but I don't, because the collective performance that he had in this game was so poor. And again, he was not done any favors by the team in front of him. There should have not been 2-on-1s on, or breakaways, shorthanded, or at even strength. There should not have been that many turnovers. On the second shorthanded goal, no, the Nico Sturm even strength goal, Jake Woolman pinched and left Gostisbehere, I believe it was.
I mean, we can talk about
rough game.
Woolman had the worst game of the season for him.
But every single one of their goals came the same way with save the Thomas Hertl goal to tie it at 5-5. That one, Michael Granlund, beautiful play, intentionally shot it off the boards to give Hertl a play off the rebound off the boards. That was a great goal.
Yeah.
But all those rest of those goals came from the same thing. The Red Wings could not figure it out. And Ville Husso could not make a save. Just absolutely unacceptable. And it was just the culmination. That's not how you pronounce that. It was just everything coming to a head that the Red Wings have had bad going for them. And it finally bit them in the butt. Yep. Montreal, Chicago, Minnesota, every single one of those games, you've let the other team come back into it. And it cost you. It's not, you cannot keep doing this. You can't, if you get out to big leads, you have got to be able to protect it. And the fourth goal at the end of the second period, I know I'm rambling now, Scotty, and then we have to get to a break, but I'm just so fired up over this. Another thing that this team does constantly, goals with a minute left in a period, 22 seconds left. You just got to get to the intermission with the lead. And they come back down on a 2-on-1 goal. This team has
did it again in the third for whatever it's worth as well.
Oh yeah. And a minute 29 left on that one. It's just this team's inability to close out games. This team's inability to prevent odd man rushes. This team's inability to get consistently good goaltending out of two of their three goalies has just been such a huge problem that they've been able to outscore as of late. They came into this game second in the Eastern Conference, second in the league, first in the Eastern Conference in goals for. They have the most 4+ goal games in the NHL. And this is another one to tack on there because they scored 5. They are like the Buffalo Sabres last year. And we see how that works out. You cannot keep outscoring your problems. You have got to, at some point, address the defensive woes of this hockey team. And until they do that, this team is not going to win many playoff games if they even get into the playoffs. And that may sound reactionary. They've been playing very well of late, winning games. But underneath, in every single one of these games, Scotty, we have talked about it. Underneath, these problems have been there. And today, it boiled over.
Yes.
All right.
My response to the last 4 minutes is yes.
We'll be back. Segment 2, Locked On Red Wings. You know who won't let you down is eBay Motors, Scotty. I tell you, passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Something the Red Wings wouldn't know about after this game. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit. Only available to U.S. customers. Segment 2, Locked On Red Wings podcast.
Hey, you know what? This game sucked, and we're all upset, but I can't get over how much of a bar burn rubber, not cash is, man. That's just, it's so heat. Like, that needs to be in a song yesterday. Like, that's so hard. I don't know how that's not, like, on billboards. Like, that's the coldest line ever. But.
All right. Scotty, again, just to reset and bring my level back down to where it should be. Red Wings
Where should it be after blowing a 4-goal lead to the worst team in hockey?
Well, that's the thing, right? I think it's warranted that I'm fired up, right? It's warranted that I find this unacceptable and that this is a situation where all the issues this team has continued to have despite their winning has boiled over. But at the same time, I do think it's unfair for me to, just write off all their successes, right? So I'm pissed. And I'm deservedly so. But at the same time, they've still won.
He's like, guys, I'm going to calm down. And then he takes 10 seconds to gather himself and goes, I'm pissed. All right.
Listen, they've still won 6 of their last 8. They're still in the divisional race. It's just this is a bad loss. And
here's the thing. The thing about this game is it isn't the result in a vacuum. And like the result in a vacuum sucks. Okay. You only got 1 of 2 points from the San Jose Sharks. That sucks. But I think the thing that is alarming about this game is more of the bigger picture of like, you have blown leads pretty much this entire winning stretch and just like held on at the end, almost every single game. And now you are like, if you have the lack of goaltending and defense and the ability to blow a 4-goal lead to the worst team in hockey in 5 minutes, then like that's worrisome going forward when you obviously play much better teams. Like that is the thing that's alarming about it is, as you said at the beginning, this is something that's been an issue. And now it's to such an extreme as to where the San Jose Sharks can exploit it in like a quarter of a period.
Yeah, and I want to correct myself earlier too, because I said that they almost blew leads to the Blackhawks and the Wild. That was just me being heated. They almost blew leads to the Sabres and the Canadiens. Yeah. I just had my timeline mixed up because they've played a lot of games recently where they've scored a lot of goals. So it was the last 2 games against the Sabres and the Canadiens where the heart attacks have just been crazy inducing.
Correct.
But anyway, Scotty, moving on with hopefully a little bit more of a leveled head. We've addressed like why this is embarrassing and, why we think that this is just like, these are the issues this team has that they need to address if they want to be serious contenders in this division. Are you comfortable with saying that Alex Lyon should be this 1A going forward?
Brother. I want to know if anyone was saying it before I was. Yeah, I'm rather comfortable. I think I'm rather comfortable saying that. Like, here's the thing, man. Reimer's healthy, right? Like,
yeah,
again, here's the issue I had at the beginning of the season was the fact that the goaltending wasn't that good, and we had 3 goalies and we weren't using them. Mm-hmm. Okay, well now, like this history repeats itself. That's just how it goes. Like now we're just like Alex Lyon obviously has been great, and he should be the 1A. Yes, that part of the conversation, absolutely. Until proven otherwise, which may happen, right? No one's expecting him to hold a 950 the rest of the way, but like you have to ride the hot hand because you don't have anyone better proven. So like you should ride the hot hand. But now you're to a point again where like, okay, now you're throwing Husso out there whatever it is, once, twice a week, and like the results have not been there. And again, in the winning streak, obviously tonight was an extreme. It wasn't quite as bad, but they showed a stat today. He's given up 3+ goals in like all but 3 games this season or something ridiculous. Like it's not great, Bob, or maybe that was an LCA streak specifically, but like it hasn't been great. Yeah. And so I'm so blown away, but like Reimer wasn't a traffic cone. Like Reimer wasn't, he wasn't awful. Like I don't understand why we have 3 goalies. And even though our goalie like situation as a whole is not good, we refuse to give all 3 goalies an opportunity to find the 2 best ones. We're just like, it's like a weird obsession. It's like one of you has to never play again. And I don't understand that logic whatsoever, Brian.
Yeah. I mean, I think the logic behind it is they don't want to. if I'm playing devil's advocate as to why they keep throwing Husso out there despite and granted, to be fair, he had 2 back-to-back very good performances when he came back from paternity leave or whatever you want to call it. But the 2 games after that and highlighting this one, kind of back to the old self, right?
When was the last time Reimer played a hockey game?
I think it was the loss in Sweden. I think it was when he ducked under the Stutzla batted out of the air goal with 2 seconds left in overtime. So, like, I think their thinking is this guy is, one, the youngest, has the most, I wouldn't say, no, actually, I'd say Reimer probably has the most proven track record in the NHL, but they want to keep his confidence high, so they keep putting him out there. They have faith that he can bring it together. But at a certain point, you got to know what you got. So and what you got is a really hot glove in Alex Lyon. So just you run it back with him. Give him the bulk of the workload. Throw a Husso start in there every now and again. But, like, to lose...
I'm not saying never play him again. I'm saying the opposite. I want everyone to know how good all 3 are. We're rostering 3 goalies, and we have an obsession with not using one. And, like, as far as the Husso, like, specifically goes, like, I hear you, and I understand that, like, if any of these 3 guys are to be in the picture long term, it is going to be Husso. Like, no matter how good Reimer and Lyon are, like, just with where everybody's at in their NHL career, if anybody is to, like, be a solidified long-term option, it's going to be Husso. This is where I really get on a soapbox here. And, like, this is a mindset shift from rebuilding hockey to competitive hockey. You are trying to win every game. You are no longer going, oh, well, if we lose, it's okay. We need someone to get experience. We need him to go out there and get him his games played. We need to whatever. You are actively trying to win every hockey game every single night. And if that is not Husso on a night-to-night basis, then it's not Husso on a night-to-night basis, and he's not going to earn that opportunity to keep being in net. And this is super dramatic now, and like I've gone totally off the rails. No, but like this is no part of this. I want to make it clear is me saying that like Husso's performance is just like irrecoverable, and like he can't like bounce back, and he's just gonna be like this poor all season. Like I don't believe that. I don't think that should be the message we're trying to say. I just genuinely it baffles me how like Reimer had a couple of good games and now like hasn't played in like almost a month. Like it's just it's mind-boggling to me that this goalie situation is not good enough to only have 2 when you're rostering 3. That makes no sense to me.
I have one word in response to that. Bang. We'll be back with segment 3. We still got to talk about Patrick Kane's performance. Jake Wollman, the Mo Seider, Jake Wollman pair got broken up. Jake Wollman probably had his worst game, rather, as a Red Wing yet. Big difference there. So I'm so used to saying he had his best game that this one's so out of left field. So, and I mean, we got a couple other praises this thing too, I guess. Like Robbie Fabbri continues to stay hot. Lucas Raymond continues to stay hot. Dylan Larkin continues to stay hot. But it's hard to focus on the positives after you blow a 4-0 lead and lose to overtime to the second worst team in hockey. Anyways, stay tuned to segment 3 of Locked On Red Wings. It's the holiday season, and maybe you're traveling somewhere to celebrate that with your family. The last thing you want is to be caught unprepared and have to take care of yourself or a loved one if you fall ill. Jase Medical can give you peace of mind before you ever hop on a flight. The Jase case is a pack of 5 different antibiotics to treat a long list of bacterial illnesses, including UTIs, respiratory infections, sinusitis, skin infections, among many others. This stuff could happen to any of us. So visit jasemedical.com and complete your physician encounter. It will be reviewed by a board-certified physician, and your medications will be dispensed by a licensed pharmacy at a fraction of the regular cost. It's never been more important to be prepared than today. Go to jasemedical.com and use offer code LOCKEDON to get $20 off your first order. Segment 3, Locked On Red Wings podcast. That's the biggest shame about this entire game, Scotty, is that it overshadowed what should have been a really fun episode talking about Patrick Kane's debut at the Detroit Red Wings. Yeah. I mean, we were so fired up reacting to this game and the porous defense and the odd man rushes and the goaltending that couldn't make a single clutch save when you needed it most, that it glossed over what I thought was a pretty impressive performance by Patrick Kane. I thought he gave us exactly what we expected, Scotty.
Yeah, man. I thought I agree with you. I think he looked how we thought he was going to look. I think he's clearly still like trying to get completely back to game speed. I mean, he's clearly just like lost a step from like prime Patrick Kane, but I don't think anybody should have been expecting that. Regardless, like, yeah, I thought I mean, the biggest thing for me is just watching him. He is so smart with the puck, like all the time, right? Like he knows, and the Sharks, to their credit, not just on Kane's passes, but on a lot of the Red Wings passes all night, just seems to get sticks on pucks. But yeah, I thought he's I really wanted him to score there. Really, that was that one off the. Well, I guess a couple of times, really. But obviously the main one being when he was right in front of the net. I thought he did score. My roommate and I both thought he scored.
Yeah.
I thought he looked good. I thought he looked good. I have no issues with how he looked. I'm interested in how he continues to like ramp up and get back to like full, speed. He hasn't played a NHL hockey game in 8 months. Like, so for a first game back, I have no issues with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, basically echoing all your sentiments. He, like you said, he clearly has lost a step speed-wise. But he, in the offensive zone, he's giving you exactly what you expect. Very patient with the puck. He's got very good handles. He was finding people in ways that the Red Wings were not finding prior to his acquisition. He obviously had that.
There's a couple where the people didn't even like there was one Rasmussen one specifically I remember where it was right at his feet and he didn't even like realize that he had gotten the puck past to him.
Sneaky,
That's the Patrick Kane effect, baby. Head on a swivel.
And obviously I told you this before we started recording, but I said that if he had scored there, they don't lose this game. Patrick Kane in his Red Wings debut coming back, like that jolt that would have given the fan base and the players on the bench if he scores there.
Like math.
Well, I mean, that would have
score again.
that would have only made it 5-4 because that came before the Larkin goal. So who knows what would have played out after the Kane goal.
Well, I guess
butterfly effect, baby. But even if it was just 5-4, like I don't think that they lose that game if Kane scores there. Not trying to blame Kane. He had a really good game, all things considered.
Thought he was solid.
Yeah, I thought he was solid. Obviously, defensive zone didn't provide a whole heck of a lot, but know that's Patrick Kane. You're not getting him for his defense. I thought he fed teammates, gave his teammates a couple good looks.
I'm glad they gave him a look on the power play too. Thought he did well there.
For a power play that gave up 2 shorties in this game as well.
Wow.
I mean, I was pretty overall pleased, and it sucks that as far as the Patrick Kane conversation goes, that's pretty much the extent of it because of everything else that transpired in this game. This should have been a Patrick Kane episode. This should have been celebrating a Patrick Kane's debut and a Red Wings blowout win. But the Red Wings are going to Red Wing and just let teams come back into it. It's just, again, unacceptable that happened. Still, again, trying to find my level. 6 wins in the last 8 games. They still are putting the puck in the back of the net a lot and punching teams in the face, but they've just got to tighten up defensively. They've got to. I'm not going to beat the same dead horse. You've heard us both say it 3 or 4 times this episode.
Each,
right? Jake Wallman, worst game as a Red Wing, I think, without a doubt. To the extent that they broke up, and I don't know if this is the reason they broke up the Mo Seider, Jake Wallman pair, but if there was a reason, I would speculate personally that that's probably it. He had a couple really bad giveaways. He pinched in on a goal that ended up being he pinched in when he shouldn't have, leading to an odd man rush going back the other way, leading to a goal against. And then they put him out there in overtime, which I thought, I'll be honest, when I saw they put him out there to start overtime in the very brief overtime the Red Wings had, I was like, bold move by Lalonde. I mean, this guy's been struggling all night long. You broke up the pair. You put him with Hull, Justin Hull, who actually himself had a really nice game, 64%, Corsi 4, 20 shots, attempts 4 when he was on the ice, only 11 against, and a whopping 77% expected goals for percentage, the best on the team. So Justin Hull had a pretty nice night playing alongside Jake Wallman / Shane Gostisbehere, but I digress. I thought it was a bold choice by Derek Lalonde to put Jake Wallman back out there in overtime. I'm like, this is a great opportunity if it works out to get him his confidence back. I mean, he scored that overtime winner against the Canadiens. Good opportunity for him to get it right. And then he was a non-factor. Well, it wasn't really his fault. They scored in overtime. Larkin blew a tire and let a 2-0 go back down the other way. And Ville Husso yet again failed to make an important save. But Jake Wallman was the worst player on the team, Corsi for percentage-wise. He was negative 21 relative, which is not good. 17 shot attempts for when he's on the ice, 24 against at 5-on-5. And he was 31% at expected goals for percentage, which is also not great. Negative 30% relative to his teammates. I'm not going to bash Jake Wallman too hard because he has been consistently one of the best defensemen on this team, but bad time to have a bad time.
Bad time to have a bad time. Yeah, they mixed it up a little bit. There was Ghost with Sider at one point.
Most of the time, I think they ended up having the most ice time as a pair.
Yeah, so much so that Ghost was playing penalty kill because they were like, we are not breaking up this pair. So at one point, the penalty kill had Ghost and somebody else that I was like, what the heck? I forget who it was. But at one point, the PK, had Sider and Ghost on it, which was certainly a no. Oh, it was Veleno too, because no Comfer. So at one point, the penalty kill had Veleno and Ghost to spare on it, or Goss to spare, which is certainly was an interesting kill there. But that one actually worked. So there you go.
Yeah, and I mean, Goss to spare led the team and that Corsi metric, the shot attempts. He was out there for 22 shot attempts for and only 8 against, which is really impressive for a guy who played on 2 different pairs in this game. And also, I think that Jeff Petrie and Ben Sherrod had a pretty decent game.
Yeah, I thought Petrie looked good, except for when he almost scored on himself. Besides that, I thought he was really good, but he did legitimately almost score an own goal. So that was wild. But he didn't, and I agree with you. I'm more just joking around. Like, yes, I thought he looked good. I thought Sherrod had a good game. Again,
Ben Sherrod, that was again
no Comfer,
2 assists in this game.
Yeah, I agree. I think you kind of felt no Comfer. I feel like that presence was felt. Not that Veleno struggled, but I thought that you kind of missed that.
And I thought Cop in one hand, I thought this was one of his better games this season. He struggled mightily this season, and his line of Perron, Rasmussen, and himself was
Rasmussen had probably the best game of the season.
2 goals,
even aside from the tip-in goals, he was actually he was buzzing. He was everywhere. Baby. Which was good. And then credit to, if we're just on a, what went right streak here, like the fourth line, I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
We touched on it a little bit earlier, but the fourth line was stellar. So
and then to finish it off, right? And that's the crazy thing about this game is we have so many wow, these players are hot right now, or they had a good game.
0-0 end of 1, and you were up 4-0 at one point. It's not like it was 60 minutes of garbage. It was just you.
Well, and the Lucas Raymond, Dylan Larkin connection continues to be.
Razor, great game. Larkin, great game. Larkin had a good game defensively too, I thought. Yeah, man.
I mean, Larkin didn't get an assist on Razor's goal, but I mean, it was because he came into the zone cleanly and dropped it off for Fabbri that whole play developed. Fabbri with 2 assists. He now has 13 points in 13 games. He was great. Raymond with 2 more points, on track for a 78-point season with the Detroit Red Wings. So it's there are accolades and flowers to hand out after this game, but it just gets buried underneath a blown lead. Correct. I mean, I'm still. I've said my piece. So
I'm pissed off.
Now I've said my piece. I got my energy out. I'm back down to a 3. It's not the end of the world, but I'm still annoyed that you blew this game and lost a point when you shouldn't have. And I'm annoyed that the same issues continue to persist with this team. But I also recognize that you've been playing so well right now and you were due for a loss eventually. I just wish it wouldn't have come in such an ugly fashion.
Agreed.
So, oh, shoot. We got to preview a game.
I mean, it's Ottawa.
It's Ottawa, baby.
I mean, we've previewed, what is it? We've already played them 3 times or whatever. I mean,
yeah, the Red Wings.
But yeah, I would imagine Lyon will be in net.
He is, I believe. I think they already confirmed that he's playing on Saturday.
Yeah,
they confirmed
that's probably not a bad move.
So Red Wings won the first matchup 5-2. Senators in Sweden won in overtime. Obviously, very infamous goal now. Stutzla's out of the air. home run he hit over Reimer's head as he ducked. Pretty famous. Red Wings came back in that game. Talk about that was a reverse, except the Red Wings didn't get the second point. Struggling in net. 897 for Korpisalo, 891 for Anton Forsberg. You got to throw line out there. They will be. 21st in the league at 5-on-5. Power play and penalty kill. Let me check real quick. Probably middling, I imagine. But they are dead last in the division, 8th place. This is a team that you got to beat. And you got to come pissed off, too. You have to absolutely come pissed off.
Agreed.
So get it right. Get right back on it. Get on the horse named Friday, because it is a Friday episode. And yeah, I mean, divisional games, those are the most important of them. So these are just like every game I've been saying, these are 2 points you can't afford to lose. These are 2 points you can't afford to lose.
Agreed.
Any final thoughts, Scotty?
We ball, baby.
We'll be back with a new episode on Monday.
Burn rubber, not cash.
Burn rubber, not cash. We'll be back with a new episode on Monday, recapping this game against the Ottawa Senators. Same time, same place. It's your team every day.
Every day.